Hello, hello, welcome back to COCBLOK, the Coalition of Craft Beer Lovers of Kentucky on 93.9 WLXU FM. I am Matt.
And I am Jeff.
And we have a whole nother, we have an entire hour dedicated to the discussion of beer, which I know that's what everybody wants to talk about because
do you like
that's
beer?
all that matters. No, it kind of sucks.
I know, beer sucks, man. Why do we even bother?
Why are you even here?
Let's talk about something like soda.
I want to talk, let's talk about...
shoes.
Let's talk about Netflix's new marijuana line. Have you seen that?
The what?
Netflix.
Netflix, the movie thing?
Yeah.
That you subscribe to?
They're creating a
Has
whole...
marijuana?
Yeah, they're selling weed.
Whoa, stop the clock. Where do I sign up? Wait, what's going on here? Does it come with my subscription?
I actually saw that on... I don't know. I don't think they're selling it through the subscription.
Oh, that sucks.
They developed like 4 different strands based on like some of their popular
this
TV
can't
shows.
Be true.
Yeah.
Netflix is in the weed business.
Yeah, they're selling it in California.
I don't.
Isn't that crazy?
That can't be true. This sounds like fake news.
Yeah.
Hashtag fake news.
We need to call this cockmock now. Marijuana, craft marijuana. That's crazy. Well, because the places it's legal. It's not legal. I can't believe it's not legal.
Where did you read this? On Snopes?
No.
Fox News? Where did you read this?
It was somewhere on the internet.
CNN? Some one of these places that has fake news?
It was somewhere on the internet, so it's got to be true.
That's probably true.
But I did see it in more than one pop-up news article.
I haven't heard. I'm online all day. I haven't heard of this.
Really?
No.
You should Google it at our next...
Is it on ESPN.com?
It could be.
I'm going to check.
I'm sure
Netflix. So basically $9.99 for all the movies you can watch plus weed.
I would highly doubt that
that's a bargain.
That weed is included with that, but if it is, then sign
for $9.99 a month. That would be the best deal ever.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we got a whole hour to talk about. We got Fest of Ales coming up this week, which is gonna be awesome. We got our very first COCBLOK beer collab bottle release with Ethereal coming up. We'll talk about that, and then you want to go off on a rant on.
Listen, I've got some serious things to say here, and people are gonna listen to me for once.
But not right now, because we're going to talk about...
Five people listening are going to hear my rant about 5 p.m. tastings.
God, it's so...
Tap takeovers, what do you want to call them?
That is so imperative that we discuss that.
It is probably... I got to be honest. It is probably the most important issue facing craft beer today is the problem of the 5 p.m. tap takeover.
I cannot wait to hear all about this. I cannot wait to hear about this.
We can't continue like this anymore. What are we, animals?
Well, let's start with how we normally start. What have you been drinking? What's good around town, man?
I'll tell you what I had, which may be the best beer I've had all year. And I'm sure it's a beer you've already had, but for me it was new. I had it last Friday. The Evil Twin Imperial Biscotti Break Bourbon Maple Syrup Barrel Aged Thingamajiggy. You know what?
How was it?
Have you had this?
I don't know if I've had the maple one.
Oh my gosh.
I'll have to...
Every sip was pure deliciousness. And... shout out to my man Yeppy, because that was absolutely one of the best beers I've had.
Your man, huh? Have you met him before?
Well, I brought him here to give a talk.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So I met him. He was very quiet and shy, but that beer was just brilliant. I totally enjoyed that. Some other lovely, wonderful beers we've seen in the last week or so. Let's see, Trillium Metal. Nice. You've probably had that already.
I have. Yes. Another hazy IPA.
Mm-hmm. Totally enjoyed the new Country Boy Alpha Experiment 438.
Oh, interesting. That's
438 hop, which is a kind of tropical, fruity hop, apparently. With some people get wood out of it. I did not. But I thought that put your... Yeah, I don't mean that kind of wood.
Oh, yeah?
It's just COCBLOK.
Yeah, I don't get wood, but I got wood.
Yeah. I had the last of my Danish beers I brought back, Pohala's, which is actually not Danish, it's Estonian.
Oh my god!
Which is really a very good stout, big imperial stout. Got to try a couple Lord Hobos last Thursday. Have you had Lord Hobo? Out of Boston area, I believe. Some nice little IPA.
We'll be there soon.
Oh, I can't.
How many weeks until our McKellar Copenhagen Beer Fest?
100.
How many weeks?
100 weeks?
100 weeks?
I'm really bad at math.
I think it's like 4 weeks. Four weeks, man. We'll be up in Boston.
Have you had Oscar Blues Interstate Smash Express?
I don't think so.
It is another NEIPA.
New England style IPA.
Had that at Hopcat.
Yeah, okay.
Really nice.
Nice.
The Mad Tree Bourbon Barrel Aged Bluegrass Atomic Dog.
Jeez.
Part of the Mad Tree invasion of Lexington last week. You know, Mad Tree's here.
Yeah.
Taking over town. You can see the stacks and stacks of the hop there. What's that beer called? Psychopathy.
That's a good solid IPA too.
That is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I've been drinking Mad Tree for a long time, and so it's nice to see them finally come down to
Mad Tree's everywhere
Kentucky.
now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be the Rheingeist Mad Tree battle as far as outsiders who conquer the area.
The Lexington market.
Yeah, they're stacks of their beers everywhere these days. Some nice stuff. Before, right on the way over here, I had a whole half liter of the Blue Stallion Altbach, the Test Batch Altbach, which was a nice Bach, and half liter is a little more than I like in a serving, which is really only 500 milliliters when you think about it, but it was niss.
That's still more than a standard 12-ounce pint, though, or 16-ounce.
Some good stuff going around. Last week, Mirror Twin had the Mikkeller Hazy, whatever it was called, Big and Hazy, something like that.
The Mikkeller one?
That was over at Mirror Twin. It's Big Hazy. That was over on a Mirror Twin. And actually, there was one more beer just to throw out there that I thought was a really pleasant surprise that was on tap at Mirror Twin last week. I've had a few things from Wooden Cask that I thought were pretty decent.
Yeah.
But there was this barrel-aged, I think it was either stout or a Scotchdale called Corruption.
Okay.
That's absolutely the best Wooden Cask beer I've had today.
Okay.
Really nice. So
I've only had a few things from Wooden Cask. They're still pretty new.
In Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, but they're really interesting. I always, when they first came out, I got them in Woodburn confused because they both got wood in their name.
Who doesn't have wood?
I know, right? And I always got them mixed up, but two very different breweries, very good up and coming breweries in Northern Kentucky.
What have you been up to?
One of my
besides looking at the eclipse, which is why we didn't have a show last week.
Burning my retinas. That eclipse sucked, by the way. Did you actually watch it?
So here's the problem. I wasn't really born on this planet, and if I go out during an eclipse, all kinds of crazy stuff happens to my skin, and it's a whole alien thing. So no, I stayed inside. But
my wife and my daughter went to a pool in some friend's neighborhood, and actually your neck of the woods.
Oh yeah.
But I had to work, so I stayed at home, and they had glasses and I didn't. So I did the creative thing that I also read on the internet, and I used my selfie cam on the phone. I just turned on backwards so I could look at the sun.
I thought that would burn out your phone, I read.
A lot of people said that, but I think it's got to have a direct, constant direct beam of sunlight. So I just kind of made sure I was moving it back and forth so that way it couldn't get a direct shot. But anyway, so it starts getting dark and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm going to step outside. And I go outside and it never really got dark. It just it just got a little bit less dark and then it was done. And then nothing happened.
So it was a quickie.
Yeah, it was very quickie. Yeah, it was
quickie.
It was more quick than I'm even used to. But I started watching
was that it?
Yeah, I was watching the NASA feed on Facebook, and it was pretty cool if you were in South Carolina or something. But no, here it was just
Hopkinsville, I think was the place to be.
In Kentucky and Hopkinsville, yeah. But it kind of sucked here. Yeah. I didn't like it. I was just kind of that's it.
This whole eclipse thing, I couldn't care less. But we didn't have a show because you wanted to watch the eclipse.
Because I wanted to watch the eclipse. Yeah, I'm glad it didn't burn my retinas. I read an article. There's a bunch of people that are getting hospitalized from putting suntan lotion in their eyes, which is
suntan lotion.
Genius thing to do.
That is a good idea.
I know.
Because what?
Yeah, because that'll stop the sun.
Right.
So, but anyways, one of my buddies, Adam Grimes he lives in Northern Kentucky. He brought me back a whole bunch of Urban Artifact sours and some other.
Is that from the recent release?
No.
Oh, no, not that big bottle release.
Yeah, it was prior to that. But so I got to try a bunch of interesting things from them. And he brought me some other, the Team Biffy from Listerman, their New England IPA.
So how are those?
The Braxton. It's good. It's really good. I actually like.
See a bit of hype. I haven't tried any of those.
I like some of the stuff we've been putting out in Lexington even better.
Better than Listerman. So you'll take Hazy but Lazy.
Yeah.
Over Listerman.
Yeah, I would right now. That one and the Fadtastic that we got. That's I think that's still on tap over at Ethereal. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll be getting the bottles of that too. So yeah, but I mean it's good. I liked it a lot.
Was it better than the Braxton Batch 01?
Yeah, he actually brought me one of those too. That was okay.
I thought it was very good beer.
It was a very good IPA.
Yeah.
New England style IPA? I don't know.
Maybe not.
It kind of bordered.
It's like Westlake Low Beam. Okay, not a New England style, but it still tastes fine.
Yep, I agree. But he let me try a couple of bottles of these other. I'm trying to find one here from Urban Artifact that I was not blown away, but
lots of adjuncts.
Fire Iron. Have you heard of that?
I've only had a handful of Urban Artifacts.
It's like a fruit. It's a fruited sour, but I took a picture of it, and it's hazier than any IPA I've seen.
That looks like basically it looks like kind of an orange mimosa.
Yeah, it was, and it had I'm going to show. We actually put these on a video. We
on
put
the
this
internet.
show. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying. We put this show on the internet in the video format. So I just showed the picture there. It is that was a very milkshakey.
Was it good?
Beer. It was really good. I actually enjoyed it a lot.
It seems like they do only kettle sours or kind of an adjuncty kettle sour kind of thing. That's it.
They kind of got a shtick about them.
Yeah.
It's not going to, take over any sort of like authentic Belgian style beer. But
have you been up there?
To Belgium?
No, to Urban Artifact.
No, I haven't. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have. I need to go check it out.
It's in Cincinnati, everyone.
Yeah, which is also like Northern Kentucky. He was like, yeah, people in Cincinnati don't like being saying they're from Northern Kentucky.
No, it's really. I mean, it's not at Northern Kentucky. It's farther up north. It's like it's northern Cincinnati, I think.
I have no idea.
It's in an old church. I haven't been to it, but it's an old church.
Okay.
Northern Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, yeah, that was good. I got got a few meads from Melavino out in New Jersey, I think it is. And I opened one from them called Berry Boku.
Right.
That was amazing.
Is this a club thing or just?
I don't think so. I think that one they just sold it online. I was like, I'll buy some.
But you didn't get it sent here, right?
No. They won't ship to Kentucky. Nobody ships to Kentucky, man.
A few people do, but most people don't.
But they're not supposed to. Like, there isn't actually...
I think it's okay. You can ship it.
I researched it. I read it.
I think it's about counties. It's not about Kentucky.
I think it's Kentucky.
No.
I think it's the entire state. Well, the alcohol laws are state dependent.
They are, but I know...
I know some counties are dry and some are wet.
I thought it was about that people just didn't want to mess with the whole wet dry, so they just said, forget it, we're not doing it at all.
Maybe. But I read an actual...
I can name half a dozen places that will ship here.
I'm pretty sure I read a Kentucky statute somewhere that said you cannot ship alcohol to Kentucky. But it's all of it's antiquated anyway, you know?
Listen,
somebody needs to sit down and go over this stuff and like get updated.
Mitch McConnell, if you're listening, and I know you are because you're a huge fan of this show, change the law.
Yeah, just that one. Just so we can get more.
You
booze.
represent Kentucky, and you know these brewers. Change the law. Let us ship beer here, man. What is going on?
Yeah.
Is this not? What is this? Russia? This isn't Russia. Do we live in Russia?
Pull back the Iron Curtain, or some other Russian reference.
Communism is over. What is going on here? This is crazy. It's Labor Day coming up. Come on, this is the day to do it.
The last thing I had, it was from our friend William Weber. He actually got me a 6-pack of the Fuzzy Baby Ducks.
That stuff's good.
Very good. I'd never had that before.
Good.
We actually tried to get it for our buddy Kyler's wedding, but it couldn't get here in time. So he was like, "Oh, it finally came in," but I was like, well, I guess that's over. So I actually he gave me a 6-pack, and I gave a couple to Kyler, and I was going to give the rest away.
Yeah.
My wife saw the can.
Just drank it all.
She drank it. She drank all except for like one because she said the can was so cute.
And it's good.
And it's very good, but it's got like little like baby ducks and rainbows, and it's like a unicorn pissing like
who wouldn't want
rainbows or something like that.
Who wouldn't want to drink a can with little baby ducks on?
Yeah, and unicorn pissing rainbows. That's the biggest thing. Or no, it's pooping out rainbows. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We have ducks in our neighborhood, and I always tell my kids, get my gun. Because we're having dinner tonight.
And it's going to be...
It's going to be duck.
It's going to be...
Not a fuzzy baby duck. It's going to be a real duck.
Yeah. Well, it won't be fuzzy after you rip all the feathers out.
Yeah.
So, well, good stuff, man.
Good stuff. It's a lot of fun to drink beer, don't you think? Having a great time here on NPR. I mean, listening to radio.
Can we get sued for that? I don't think we can.
It's a fun drive coming up.
Yeah.
And don't forget to call in to Lexington Community Radio, where the phone number is 859-721-5690. We're taking your calls right now.
Are we?
Well, we took one call.
We tried to.
It was my wife, though.
It took like 4 tries, too.
Yeah. You got to remember how to do it.
Yeah.
You know how you learn something and you don't do it for a while and then you're like, I forgot how to do it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, I bet. So, well, why don't we, I guess, take a little break. And then
Are you all ready for a break?
Yeah, well, I'd like to do the partition there so that way we can get into actual topics.
Right, well, listen, I want to talk about this 5 p.m. thing.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I need to talk about this 5 p.m. thing.
Welcome back to COCBLOK, which stands for the Coalition of Craft Beer Lovers of Kentucky on 93.9 WLXU. You have your host, Mateo.
You're talking about
Hello, amigos. What did he say?
Hola. Hola, amigos.
Hi, amigos.
Bienvenidos.
Yeah. Oh, that commercial that you were cracking up at.
Oh, man, that was crazy. What was that?
That was pretty awesome.
I don't know. I just picked something on the board. Like, what is? I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, listen, before we talk about what's going on, before we talk about all the events that are happening, before we talk about how exciting craft beer is going to be this weekend in Lexington, let's just say one thing and get it off our chest, okay?
You mean get it off your chest. Go.
Listen, all over this town, establishments have decided that 5 o'clock in the afternoon is the time to tap something new. I don't understand what is so holy about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And let me say something, and I'm going to say it clear, and I hope everyone out there is listening. Some of your biggest craft beer drinkers are parents, and they have to go pick their kids up from school about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I can't show up at your establishment at 5. But here's the thing. I've noticed a lot of these 5 p.m. tappings put on really cool stuff, and the next day, it's still on. And the day after that, it's still on. And the day after that, it's still on. So this begs the question, why could you not just put it on the day of the 5 p.m. tapping at 1 p.m.? Because between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., the only people who are going to show up are me, Chris Vandergriff, and I don't know who else, right? You're not going to sell more than 5 pints, and you're already open. And here's the real key. Here's the real catch. Here's the thing that's the most important about this rant. You will make my life easier.
Because that's what it comes down to.
It comes down to this. I am a privileged individual who has a really good job that allows for flexible hours, including being able to do a beer radio show at 3 p.m. on Mondays when other people are at work.
True.
And I need you to think about me. Me, the white 63-year-old man.
However old you are.
However old I am in human years, who enjoys a nice, special, rare, unique beer at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when there's nobody around. I don't want to be there at 5 either when it's crowded and elbow-to-elbow sweaty nerds shouting for what they want. I want to be there at 2 when there's nobody there and I can just sit with my computer and enjoy that rare tapping. This is a public service announcement, and this is something really important. And I know there are other people out there who agree with me but are afraid to speak out because they know what the repercussions could be.
What could the repercussions be?
Oh, they'd be serious. They'd be serious. Look, you're a dad.
I want to hear more about these repercussions.
You're a father, right?
I am.
You have a flexible job. You can have a beer or 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Don't you want to see the tappings move to normal human hours?
Definitely not.
Why not?
I don't really understand. I don't see what the big deal is.
This is a huge deal. Look, 5 p.m. I've been to many of these 5 p.m. tappings, and there's 3 people there.
Yeah.
3 people. You had to wait till 5 p.m. I've actually been. I remember being in a very what was once at least a very popular beer eating establishment in town, and this is back when I think Zombie Dust was still kind of big deal. And they had a tapping at 6.
Where were you at?
I was there at 4, having a meal, whatever, hanging out with a couple people. It's like, there's just us. There's nobody else in the entire establishment. Can we get a Zombie Dust then? Nope, gotta wait till 6. 6, there's nobody here.
Yeah.
What are you gonna lose 3 pints off the whole thing at 6? You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, but what's the benefit for them to do it earlier?
The benefit is this.
Look, I mean, I know we're being smartasses, and it's like, oh, it benefits you, but
the real truth is it doesn't matter. If 5 p.m. is just an arbitrary. I guess the idea is, look, people get off work.
Exactly.
Okay, you get off work about 4 or 5. Before you go home, you'll stop for the tapping. Mm-hmm. But the fact is that a lot of people don't go to the tappings, and they're often pretty empty. I mean, I think they're going to be, if there's some rare ones. There's one coming up on Wednesday that probably will be pretty crowded.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think 90% of the ones I've gone to have nobody there. So what does it matter to do it at 1? You know, when Country Boy used to do guest taps, what I thought was really cool is they just put them on whatever. They didn't care. And they would be cool guest taps sometimes, too. The stuff that you've never even seen before. It's like goes on at 1 in the afternoon. When our friend Tyler used to do Hopcat.
Yeah.
When he was the manager at Hopcat, he would just put stuff on at 1 in the afternoon. It didn't matter to him because he knew he wasn't going to sell out and he wasn't going to ruin the experience for the people who came at 5.
Yeah.
Still going to be plenty of beer there. And for those customers who are loyal and do come in when there's nobody else there, that's the thing, is that people like us who are privileged and white and male and can go drink beer.
I feel like there's like a whole like underlying
in the afternoon. We're actually pretty good customers. We're there when there's nobody there. We're buying stuff when there's nobody there. Can't you throw us a bone? And so I don't have to come back at 5. I'm not coming back at 5. I have
We're still talking about beer, right?
We're talking about beer.
We're not getting into like a political thing here.
Beer is political.
It could be.
It has to be. Yeah. Everything is political. What's not political?
Yeah.
You know. So this is my rant, and I know there are a lot of people out there who agree with me. And look, the phone is lit up. The callers are waiting to talk about this, but we're not going to get to you right now. Hold up. The emails are coming in. The Instagram is getting lots of hearts. I can see it right now.
Lots of hearts.
Lots of hearts.
So
anyways,
when you bring in a keg of something, and it's a good beer, but it doesn't warrant an actual event, like to where you invite people on like a Facebook event or something like that, where you publicize and you market. I mean, I guess that's why people do put it on at 1 or 12 or when they open or whenever. It's kind of irrelevant because it's just another beer, like anything else that you put on. When you're trying to create an event and you create a lot of buzz and you do a lot of marketing and you put out some advertising out there and you're expecting a lot of people to show up or more people than normal, you need to anticipate that demand as well. So if you put it on at 1, you need to make sure you're staffed at 1. And if you have normally one person tending the bar at 1 o'clock and you're expecting a whole bunch of people to show up for a special release, well, then you need to staff another 4 people or whatever it takes to accommodate the expected demand. At 5 o'clock, you're going to be busy anyway, so you're expecting that. So your staff is going to be on hand, ready to go, and who you are paying. If you have everybody coming at 1, and either people don't show up or it goes a lot slower because everybody still is at work, you lose money as a business because you are staffing a whole bunch more people that you got to keep on hand.
Here's one problem with your theory.
Okay.
Here's one big problem with your theory.
Okay.
Those 5 p.m. tappings have the same staff as the 1 p.m. There's no increase in staff. It's the same number of people.
How do you know, though?
Because I've been to them. I see it.
Yeah, but you don't know if, like, they have, like, bartenders on call that are in the back that are ready to jump in and help. Owners, for example, and a lot of
We're talking about the same places in town. There's nobody in the back.
Well, I'm talking about, like, in a smaller establishment where Beer Trap is a perfect example.
Right.
They can't hold a lot of people there. So, Brett or somebody might come in when he shouldn't come in, but he'll hang out in the back in case he gets busy. You see what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, you still have to anticipate the demand, and you still have to staff accordingly.
That makes sense, except for one problem. Between 1 and 5, there's typically nobody in there. So you don't. It doesn't matter if you put it on a 1 and you make it. You can make it an event. Events make sense. Here's 2 things. One thing is events do make sense, and I agree completely. If I were in retail, I'd want the event because there's a lot of reasons to have the event. It's an attraction. It's a lure. It's a big deal. You turn it into something bigger than it needs to be
to make more money.
To make more money, of course.
Exactly right.
But here's one problem with the event thing, is that you can still keep it as an event. You can still make it a big celebrated thing, but you could still also leave it on and tap for a few hours earlier. And then the people like me, and there's a few of us around town who are what, let's say Malcolm Gladwell calls connectors. We're the people who go out and talk about it. We're like, holy crap, this is on and this is good.
Yeah.
We're the ones who help advertise your brand. When we rate it, when we go on Instagram and say where we got it from, when we spread it on COCBLOK and tell everybody where we were.
You are making this very personal.
We are the ones who spread your message. We help spread free advertising. And why not tap into that, you know?
So from a business, it's basically, let's say I'm a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play devil's advocate. You're telling me that to go ahead and put on my special event 4 hours early, and you're telling me I'm not going to make any more money on it because nobody's going to come and no one's going to be there, but I need to have some extra people on hand just in case, since it is an event.
No, don't have anybody extra.
Okay, so then what if
Nobody's coming in because they're at work. Only professors like me or guys
who run
their own media company can go in there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and have a beer.
So if all my sales are going to be at 5, should I really go ahead and open up a 4-hour window just because?
Why not? What's the harm? What's the harm?
Well, why don't we just open it up at like 10? Why don't we open it up at 7 p.m. the night before?
7 p.m. late at night.
Why don't we open it up at 12 a.m. 2 nights before?
Listen.
Do you see what I'm saying?
It makes no difference.
If you're saying there's no point, then there is no point.
It makes no difference whether you tap it at 1 or you tap it at 5. It's still going to be on the next day. You're not going to sell out in 90% of the time. Now, there's some things that will sell out, but for the most part, they don't sell out. And you please the extra customers. And the thing is, you're going to make the people at 5 happy, but now you made the people who couldn't come at 5 also happy.
All 3 of them?
All 3 of them.
Okay. So if I have an event and I push it back to 1, I don't add any extra staff, and I'm not expecting it to be any busier.
That's right.
And all of a sudden we're tapping a whole bunch of a whole bunch of Bearded Iris, which everybody loves. All of a sudden we get 50 people to show up out of nowhere. Right. Wasn't expecting it. I don't have anybody ready to serve it.
It won't
all of a sudden we receive a bottleneck, and we get negative reviews on our business performance because we weren't anticipating that demand.
It won't happen. You're not going to get 50 people at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday.
This is the worst argument I think you've ever had.
But here's the most important part of it. You're making me happy. And that's all I'm talking about here. You're making me and a few other parents who like to drink beer and are privileged happy. And that's what we're talking about here, privilege. We're talking about honoring privilege. And I'm so tired of privilege is bad.
I have no idea what's happening right now.
We are talking about beer privilege, and beer privilege needs to be honored, and that's what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
And you know I'm right. All of you know I'm right.
That might have been the worst posed argument you've ever had.
I swear, I think there was...
Don't you do this for a living? Don't you pose arguments? And
that's a very good argument. Listen, I think there was...
because I won it.
When was that Braxton depth charge tap takeover at Hopcat? It was like months ago, right?
Yeah.
Before I went to Denmark. I still think something's on tap on that. It doesn't sell out. It doesn't sell out.
Yeah.
Now, the Wednesday one...
Hopcat's hard to use as an example, though, because...
I've been a lot of trap takeovers.
Their parking sucks, man.
Listen, the Prairie on Thursday, no offense, I mean, I go to Beer Trap all the time, but the Prairie tap takeover on Thursday with all the deconstructed bombs, they were still there Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I tasted it when I said.
Yeah. So then why don't they just release it the next day? Why don't they release it later in the day? Why don't they release it at 8?
8 at night?
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad for business. Who goes out at 8 at night on a Wednesday?
Who goes out at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday?
Me. That's the whole point.
Oh, my God.
Me. I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about anybody but me.
Let's talk about something that's relevant to everybody.
Well, I got that off my chest. And if you agree with me, you need to write into COCBLOK@COCBLOK.com. And
I think there is. We actually have an email address. Right. I haven't used it.
Or just
I think it's actually Matt at COCBLOK.com. We have an email address.
At 859-721-5690. Because we are speaking about the real issues that Lexington, Kentucky
faces.
It's
the beer world against Jeff.
This is a real issue. This is more important than fake news.
You know what? I wake up sometimes at like 7:30 in the morning, and I want a coffee beer, but I don't have any.
That's right.
I feel like a place of business should open up right at 7:30 and then close at 8 just so I can get my coffee beer and then like get back to work, and then they can go back and open it at regular
It's not a bad idea.
I don't understand.
Not a bad idea. Early morning coffee beers.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Let's do it.
Well, I don't have a brewery, but I would encourage all breweries to embrace this idea.
We're gonna make everyone.
But that's a different. I
actually texted. I got here like. It's like too late to go somewhere and get a beer beforehand, but it's like too early to do the radio show, so I was a bit early. I texted Ricky over at Arcadium. I was like,
"Open up!"
I was like, "Dude, are you there? Like, can I come in and just like have a beer?" Because it's like literally across the street. He's like, "Man, I'm off on Mondays." I was like, "Dude, I don't know."
Which one's that? Is that a bartender?
Oh no, he runs it.
I don't know who runs that place.
Ricky Wells. He's not one of the owners, but he runs it.
Is he a dude with glasses?
No. No, you've probably met him before.
I don't know the names.
He goes to some events and stuff like that.
There's a dude over there who I see all the time, but I don't know his name. A cool bartender who.
Not a bartender.
Like I saw last Friday. I think it was last Friday we were over. Saturday, maybe no, it was Saturday we were over there.
Sean Taylor.
I forget all their names.
Will Hinkle are the owners. There's another one.
I'm kind of upset also about the whole Al's Bar thing where they turned their kitchen over to a food truck.
I didn't know that.
And supposedly are not doing any of the really cool vegetarian stuff they were doing before.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Not that long ago.
Their food wasn't like great.
No, they had good food. They made a falafel sandwich that was decent. They made a veggie burger that was pretty good.
See, I don't do a lot of that vegetarian stuff. I'll get vegetarian stuff and I'll add meat to it. But then it's just like, why did I even...
I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with... Good food is good food. That's my motto.
I don't think so, but I'm not gonna not have meat for any other reason. I love meat.
Well, that's what she said.
I love putting it in my mouth. It's delicious.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Are we moving into the wrong territory?
We're going from politics to sexual innuendos. So
let's talk about what's going on.
So we got a bunch of events, beer events coming up this weekend. Actually, this is Labor Day weekend, right?
Weekend's over, but it'll be the following weekend.
This coming up?
Not coming up. Not the weekend that just happened, because we're out of the weekend now. We're in the weekday.
I just said
Monday is like the first day of the week, right?
This weekend coming up is Labor Day weekend, and there's a lot of good events going on. We just got Matry in town, and Matry is all over the place.
Oh, they're taking over Lexington.
Taps are popping up, cans and bottles are popping up everywhere. They are actually going to be represented at the Lexington Fest of Ales this Friday. And Cheapside Park. Yeah, it starts at 5:30. Is it Cheapside Park? I thought is not Pavilion this year.
Cheapside Pavilion, is that what we call it? Cheapside.
Third Pavilion.
But it's not the same place it's always been?
I assume
that's
so.
Cheapside.
Cheapside. I've never heard it called Cheapside Park.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I know where Cheapside is.
How long have you lived here?
Longer than you. Well, anyways, there's going to be a lot of good stuff on. The tap list can't actually be released until the day of the tapping, but I did get an advance copy, so I was going over some of the highlights here.
Are you allowed to say out loud what's on it, or is this secret?
Yeah, he said, I assume I interpreted what he said to me as me being able to read out loud, so if I'm wrong, I will be chastised later. But Ethereal's putting on a Bourbon Barrel Asmodeus. The Against the Grain Willie's Imperial Stout. Did you get a bottle of that?
It was very good.
Oh, no! That's
very good.
I was actually, I was kind of like hesitant to get a bottle because Against the Grain kind of has this reputation for everything being like smoky and just kind of like and like weird. That was amazing. It's about time they put out like a just nice barrel-aged stout that's just, good. So, but Dry Grounds putting on the Rapture, that really popular stout they've had out for a couple years now. Mirror Twins Hazy But Lazy is going to be there, part of the haze craze that's been going on. A couple other hazy beers. Bearded Iris is going to be tapping Double Home Style, which I have not had that one. And there's going to be a Bourbon Barrel Tunilla from Dark Horse. Our buddy Michael Nolan was telling me good things about.
I've had that.
I haven't.
It's excellent.
Yeah, that's going to be on tap as part of their special tappings, and a bunch of other stuff. I got just a huge list here. I haven't had time to go through it all, but it looks.
Now you're just looking at the special tapping list. You're not looking at the entire list.
Well, I was kind of going through and just kind of picking some stuff that jumped out at me. But very exciting stuff. Lots of breweries. Again, as is prominent with the Lexington Fest of Ales, a strong push on local, which I love. So you get to see a lot of the
looks like
local
even
breweries that you might not be able to get to.
What's it called? Maiden City? No, wait. What's that name of the brewery? Maiden City? Maiden...
The one... Is that the one in Cynthiana?
Mm-hmm. They're going to have something there, it looks like. Maiden City, yeah. Tap on Main is Somerset. They're going to be there.
Okay.
I always get excited about the little ones,
because we don't really get to try them unless we get. I remember I stopped in Maiden City while I was doing some work in Cynthiana, and they didn't even have anything on tap yet. I was kind of disappointed, but yeah, that happens like once in a blue moon. I end up in one of these far out places.
They're becoming the king of the braggot in Kentucky because they brew a lot of braggot, right?
Yeah. Well, they one of the owners was the guy that made the was it Alex Caldwell?
I don't know.
Made the ginger braggot, which was great for that West 6 brew off.
It's also just, I think, really good advertising for those brewers whose beers are not known to the general public.
Yeah.
To come and try them and go, oh, this is from Kentucky. I didn't know we had this.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So that'll be exciting.
Why didn't we have Chris on the show?
Yeah, I don't know.
We didn't ask him.
Well, honestly, we were supposed to have somebody else.
This would be his third appearance, right?
Yeah.
That would make him the king of all appearances on COCBLOK.
But he's not here.
But he's not here.
I was going to ask him.
So you missed out. Sorry, Chris. The record's not yours.
We were going to have our buddy Michael Nolan on, but he couldn't make it today. So we'll get him on another show. He's actually the new distributor for Shelton Bros. Dauntless in Kentucky, which does Shelton.
I would love to have a Dauntless discussion.
I know.
They bring in some of my favorite beers.
I know. And I really wanted to dive in the whole distribution model because I think it needs to kind of be
particularly
dissected once and for all.
With a small distributor who's part of a larger distributor that's still kind of small. I mean, Shelton is not that big.
Yeah.
So and they're very specialty. So it's interesting to get the kind of specialty perspective.
Yep.
And how do they go about picking certain beers to carry to be a part of that portfolio?
Right. Yeah. Well, we got another our big collab that we did with Ethereal Brewing. That was like 2 weeks ago, I guess, almost 2 weeks ago. We did the Fadtastic Volume 1 release, the New England Style Hazy IPA done by Ethereal. By recommendation of us. I hate calling it a collab. That's like the normal term, but
why is that?
Well, I literally, you didn't do anything to the beer, except
I drank it.
Well, I drank a lot of it, but we just told them, oh, this is what COCBLOK wants, and they're like, okay. But they did a fantastic job. But they did the Pint Night release at Pazzo's a couple weeks ago, 2 Wednesdays ago, and very, very good success. I talked to Tom over there. He said they had a great showing, more so than they had at that time of year for any other Pint Night. So that was awesome. But bottle release for the Fadtastic New England Style IPA is going to be this Friday at 3. We're going to do it at 4, but people are going to start lining up, I guess, at 4:30 for the Fest of Ales. So I think 3 will give people plenty of time to grab some bottles and run, because it's not far anyway.
It's not far, but you got to find parking and everything. Yeah. And parking downtown is getting really
like you said, nobody's out drinking at 3 anyway. So
yeah, so it'll be interesting. But if they don't get it, there'll be bottles the next day.
Yeah, well, they I think they're going to be doing plenty. I don't know about price and quantity yet, but I think there'll be plenty to go around. And he said they normally do their releases at 4, and they've always had a really good turnout. So we will see. But yeah, as of right now, 3 p.m. At Ethereal for the Fadtastic bottles. And
sounds great.
I am not sure I will actually be there. I might actually be in Tennessee with my wife's family, but got a ton of those Pazzo's glasses with the COCBLOK logo on them that we're going to be giving away. Either I will or somebody will. And,
you gonna have a contest for that?
To see who can get the most free glasses?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like juggling or dancing or something like that? Singing?
I don't know. You want to juggle glasses?
I think I'll sing. Maybe a little Bob
What are you
Dylan.
talking about? You keep taking this stuff in random directions. I have no idea where you're going. I'm trying to read you, and it's just and then you'll start talking about stuff that's not actually happening, and I'm so far out in left field.
You never know.
Whatever.
So we take a quick break, and then we'll come back to talk about beer, I suppose, on COCBLOK, the Coalition of Craft Beer Lovers of Kentucky, 93.9.
Hello. Welcome back to COCBLOK, the Coalition of Craft Beer Lovers of Kentucky on 93.9 WLXU FM. We are talking about beer happenings in Lexington and central Kentucky that affect you, and specifically Jeff, because everything affects Jeff. And the whole industry really needs to revolve.
You have to respect yourself. If you don't respect yourself,
you mean you need
who
to
are you going to respect?
Jeff's self.
Well, that's
no matter who is talking, they need to.
There's me, myself, and I.
and Jeff and Jeff and Jeff.
You know, advertisements for myself. I'm thinking about me.
Always.
M-E, the me generation, although that's the generation before me. Oh, after me, excuse me.
One thing I like about this time of year is that I've never really been a huge fan of like the seasonal beers. I don't mean like beers that come out different parts of the season. I mean like why, like sometimes it's summer, sometimes I want a stout. Yeah. You know what I mean? But everybody focuses on making the really like lighter style, like the quote unquote lawnmower beers.
Sometimes in the evening on a Friday night,
yeah,
I'm thinking, man, I want to finish this evening with something dark and rich.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, but this time of year is where summer's winding down, and we're going to start getting into fall and winter, and people start putting out the higher gravity stuff. I love this time of year because then you get the really big, strong barrel-aged stouts, barley wines.
But before that, you get wet hopped, which is one of my favorite times of the year. Is we should be seeing
when
soon
the hop crops, they start getting pulled. Yeah, so that'll be really cool.
Love what Founders Harvest.
Yeah,
love it.
And a plethora of pumpkin beers.
Yeah, well, they've already hit.
Would you notice? I feel like last year they kind of ramped down a little bit, or they kind of.
I wish they would ramp down completely.
So you don't like the pumpkin beers?
I'm just not a pumpkin beer guy, and I don't like Southern Tier's Pumpkin.
Yeah.
And I don't like Warlock, and maybe one Schlafly pumpkin is fine for me.
Yeah. I really do love pumpkin beers, but I don't like a lot. I don't like a lot of the ones that are being put out.
Like why?
Which ones do you not? I love Schlafly pumpkin. I think that's a great beer. Brooklyn does one. Somebody posted to COCBLOK the other day in our Facebook group. They do one called Post Road Pumpkin. Right. I cannot stand that beer. It's just not good. It doesn't taste. It's been like 5 years since I've had it, but it was like very tinny, very light. I didn't get barely any pumpkin flavor at all, which Brooklyn kind of has this reputation for not really being that aggressive or that forth.
Well, they are in some beers, but the price point's too high.
Even those, I think they're just kind of like letdowns.
$7.50s.
I think they're all. Every single one I've had has been more or less.
They're too expensive.
Yeah, they're just not that great. But there's like a whole bunch of people that just throw pumpkin on the name, and they've tried to like garner success. And I think because they got so popular, people were just throwing crap in a tank along with a pumpkin and saying, "Here's our pumpkin ale, buy it."
Sometimes there's no pumpkin in a pumpkin ale. It's just pumpkin spice.
Yeah,
it's just the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the allspice. But there are a lot of pumpkin beers that have no pumpkin in them.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's fine. If it tastes good, it tastes good. This is like, this whole era is like the adjunct beer era. Every single beer that comes out has some sort of, artificial flavoring or even, some vanilla beans or just some sort of adjunct in there that we just do it just to gussy it up and try to make a good beer. So, yeah, if you do it well, do it well. But, when they got really popular, everybody was just trying to catch up, It's like when IPAs first got popular. Like 10 years ago or something like that? Everybody just had to have an IPA. It didn't matter if it was good or not. You just had to jump on that wagon, I think the pumpkin beers have kind of fallen off a little bit, and I haven't been seeing them as much.
So when are you going to buy your first pumpkin beer?
I had been getting like a case of Schlafly pumpkin every single year.
Mackerel, you drink a case of that?
Well, between now and next year.
But it changes over time.
No, it doesn't. The Schlafly does not. No? Schlafly doesn't. No, it doesn't. It holds up very well over the entire year.
It doesn't fade?
Which means they probably use probably use some artificial flavoring in there, but it's just good.
Nobody, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember, has anybody locally made a pumpkin beer?
Yes, but not packaged. I know Country Boy's done some too.
Oh, Country Boy. So Country Boy in Middle Fork did those collabs where they did the pumpkin and maybe a butternut squash or something. Those are pretty, and they did a barrel-aged version of it. Those are pretty good.
Yeah, I remember they've actually done that a few years now.
Yeah, it was originally a Middle Fork collab.
Okay.
That was the idea behind it.
That's ironic. Now they're next to Ethereal.
Yeah, but who else has done one? I'm trying to remember. If anybody,
I'm sure West 6 probably has had some on tap. They do so many of the Firkins and stuff. I don't really know. I can't recall having one from them.
I don't think Ethereal ever did a pumpkin beer.
Well, not yet.
Or Mere Twin in their short history.
Yeah. Well, this is, a lot of these breweries are still fledgling breweries, So you could look at Country Boy, you look at West 6. None of them.
Maybe Pivot will do a pumpkin cider.
Ugh.
They're doing beer as well.
So? They have started doing beer.
Had a few of the beers.
Excuse me.
Whoa.
Holy crow.
I just can't get excited about pumpkin beer unless I'll buy if it's some. I'm not as a ticker.
Yeah.
And if I see in the store a pumpkin beer I've never had, I might pick one up. Years ago, there was a dude I used to trade with on Rate Beer, who had, and his thing was every year he
so Raper's two guys, another guy.
There's a dude in Seattle, and every year his shtick was he was looking for unrated pumpkin beers, and he would put out all kinds of names, and if you found the ones that he was interested in, you would get some serious beer back from Seattle, which was a great place to buy beer. So it'd always be on the search for the different kinds of odd things that we would get that he wouldn't get. Another pumpkin beer, which used to be very popular, but I don't see them around here at all, really, is O'Fallon's pumpkin beer from St. Louis.
I didn't like that one.
I don't know if O'Fallon even still distributes here very much.
I don't know. I haven't had a lot of O'Fallon stuff that I've really
But they did a pumpkin beer that was kind of popular.
Yeah, it was kind of popular. Yeah. I didn't care for that one. And just to back up, I don't get excited and hyped about pumpkin beer. I don't care about that. I enjoy them. And I think a lot of people, they got so saturated that people actually hate them.
What about the Dogfish Head one?
Which one's that?
Pumpkin or something like that?
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Yeah, that one's okay.
It's not very pumpkin-y.
Okay. No, not really. The Schlafly, I think, is kind of become the standard, but
Stone has never done a pumpkin beer.
I'm sure they have.
Not packaged at least, unless you went to the tap room.
Yeah, I don't know. We kind of went off a little
hoppy pumpkin.
I think what I'm really excited about this season is the stouts and the high gravity beers. Founders in their backstage series, we were reading online, they are bringing back the CBS, the Canadian Breakfast.
Also,
stouts.
Lizard of Cause.
Maybe
that's coming back too.
I don't know.
That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. They're bringing it back.
I don't know. There's still something strange there, but I don't know if I can agree.
We'll see. Will Canadian Breakfast Stout, one of the more heralded Founders beers,
one of the most heralded beers,
which I write about in my book Craft Obsession, which you can get at Amazon. Will it be the same? That's the question.
I would venture to say it would be very close to the same. I think Founders has done a great job with consistency.
They are very consistent
over the years with all of their releases. And it's kind of hard with something that's that old that you haven't produced in that many years. Although they did do a draft-only, keg-only version.
Well, it started that way. Before it was bottled, it was only draft-only.
Yeah. But, since
since it was released.
After the bottles were released, they did a one-off batch that they did kegs-only. And Hopcat, when they first opened, they had it on tap in town, and it was really good. My question is, are people going to fawn over it like they had? And I don't think they will. I
would buy a bottle as long as the price point remains fairly, reasonable.
Yeah.
And I don't have to wait in line.
I think a lot of I hate saying this, but it's true. I know it's true. A lot of what goes into the quality and perception of a beer is the hype and the scarcity of a beer.
Or have people forgotten about CBS?
I don't think anybody's forgotten about it, but I think everybody knows.
Crazy. They're still going to go crazy the way they went in with Top and Goliath now, and excuse me, and all these other big stouts that have come out. Are they going to still go crazy over CBS? Is it still in our beer memory?
Yes, it is in our beer memory, but I will go ahead and put two scenarios. They make a very small batch of it. Each store gets maybe a case, or maybe the whole city of Lexington gets 3 cases. The distributor's got to figure it out. Then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this beer is just as I'm in air quotes. This is what people are gonna say. This is just like I remember it. This is the greatest beer ever made. 5 out of 5 stars. Trading for whales. You got to get it if you can get it, but you can't because it's too rare. Or other scenario, we get tons of cases. It sits on the shelf. Anybody and their mom can get it, and everyone's like, hey, it's pretty good.
Well, here's the thing.
Those are the directions I think it's going to go.
During the first the one bottle release of Canadian Breakfast Stout, the Founder's footprint was much smaller.
Yes, it was.
For distribution. So I walked over. I remember going to the Beaumont Liquor Barn when it opened, walked right in, got a bottle, no line, nothing, walked right out. Now the footprint's bigger, and as you kind of allude to, if the production is the same, then you're going to see fewer quantities in all those markets now, because they're in many, many more markets than they were when they first released.
But look at every other Backstage series release that they've done.
They've done a lot of those bottles, though.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
Will they do a lot of this one?
Why wouldn't they?
I don't know. I don't know anything about their production.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's harder to make a lot more of this. I know that some of the beers, like the breakfast, I don't think Kentucky Breakfast Stout hasn't increased that dramatically in production over the new. Matter of fact, it's getting more difficult to get just KBS. than it used to be. It used to be much easier for me to get KBS.
I wonder if they're going to do CBS in 2 different formats like they did with KBS.
I would love a 4-pack.
Yeah, like
I would prefer a 4-pack.
And they do,
but then if it's in a 4-pack, we'll only be able to buy singles.
Yeah.
And we won't get all 4 singles. But I would like to drink it in a 12-ounce portion than in a 750.
Yeah.
It was a 750, right? Yeah.
But I think the scarcity will dictate quality.
I would love for it to be a shelf turd, but I doubt it will be.
It probably won't be. I think it could be. I mean, bringing up the KBS example, Kentucky Breakfast Stout, that still goes pretty quick.
Even though its trade value has diminished dramatically because there's founders in so many states.
Yeah, and because it comes out on a regular basis, everyone knows it's going to come back out.
Still tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, still really good.
Yeah. I think the other thing to consider is that people's palates change. I don't mean individual people.
You're right.
I mean like us.
Also, I call it a hype palate.
Hype palate?
Hype palates change.
Yeah, that's true too. But as a community, it's like our tastes, they actually physically change. You've heard the whole concept of the lupulin threshold, I know, which has kind of been a big deal when IPAs were really in their heyday. 10 years ago, something that was considered mind-numbingly hoppy now would taste like a pale ale.
Well, we've talked about
to
this.
anybody that's had craft beer.
Where we used to count IBUs. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, how many IBUs does it do?
Yeah.
Now nobody even says IBUs.
Well, no, because there's all different kinds of hops in there, and you've got all different types of, like, not just hop varietals, but also like oil versus powder versus all different. And then you've got the hazy that makes it smoother.
And the new Lagunitas cannabis.
Yeah, which is I wonder
if that's going to get master distro.
I want to try that.
Oh, me too.
But no, I mean, I think the same.
I don't care that they sold out. I'll buy that.
Yeah. Well, I buy them anyway. They're a great brewery. Yeah. But I think the same holds true for all different styles. And I think what was considered a really viscous, chocolate, thick stout 10 years ago, it's probably seen as dry and maybe like almost like a porter nowadays.
I will make a prediction.
Okay.
I will make a prediction. This prediction says that when and if CBS makes it to Lexington, that the hype palette will be so worn out that people will yawn at it. And a few of us will go out and buy it, but a lot of people will go, meh. Yeah. And they will put their attention on something else at that time.
Yeah.
I think so.
It
might taste the same. It'd be just as good.
I could agree
But
with
I think the hype palette has moved on.
Did you try it at Hopcat when they opened and they released they brought that keg?
I had the bottle from the first release. I had an aged bottle later, which was not as good. I don't know why you would.
I was with you.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why anybody would pay more money to buy it aged because it does not age well.
Well, it's more of a collector's thing.
I don't think I had it on draft in the second release. Yeah,
it was good. I had it on
I stayed
draft.
Away from all the hype. I had hype palette.
I actually had it on draft twice when it came out at 2 different establishments, and this is strange, but it was better the first time than the second time. So
maybe the lines weren't as clean.
Maybe
the glass wasn't as clean.
Maybe it's a volatile beer. Maybe it falls off quick.
All beers. I've always
thought KBS was much better fresh than it was aged.
There should always be. That's the craft beer thing. Is like you can't. While some people are very, very good at consistency, you have to allow for.
Well, especially when you add all these adjuncts. If you add vanilla beans, you add chocolate, you add all these flavors, they will fade over time. Yeah. I mean, it goes without saying. Are we running late? We're running late.
Well, we've said a lot. Maybe too much.
I swear to God.
But this has been probably the greatest. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the best, the greatest, the most wonderful craft beer radio show in all of Lexington, Kentucky.
I don't
care what anybody says.
6th Street.
I know I'm right on this one.